What do you do when the winter is the coldest in 30 years, your company's down to 3 techs, and you're running furnaces around town just to survive? In this episode, we're sitting down with Joshua Crouch to explore how he went from grunt work in the HVAC world to launching multiple businesses and becoming one of the leading voices in home services automation. Josh is the co-host of the Service Business Mastery podcast and the founder of Relentless Digital and Trade Automation Pros. He's built a name around using automation and AI to eliminate inefficiencies and create better customer experiences in service business. Joshua isn't just a tech-savvy entrepreneur. He's someone who knows exactly what it's like to work a 20-hour day, delivering furnaces during a snowstorm and still showing up the next day asking, how do we make this thing better? If you've ever felt stuck between growing your business and drowning in manual tasks, this episode is a goldmine. We're breaking down real automation strategies you can use today to stop leaving money on the table. Let's jump in with Joshua Crouch. Welcome to the Roofing Success Podcast. I'm Jim Aline, and I'm here to bring you insights from top leaders in the roofing industry to help you grow and scale your roofing business. Joshua Crouch. How's it going today?
Good.
Service Business Mastery Podcast, Relentless Digital, man. It's good to have you on.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we got a few things going on. It's there's always opportunities out there, and honestly, I just can't keep my hands off of opportunities. So we just keep building businesses and seeing what we can do with them.
That's the way to go, man. We've gotten to know each other through a mastermind group in the digital marketing space and through the podcast space and shared a lot of things there. You've shared a lot with me. You guys have a very successful podcast in the home services space, and wanted to have you on and talk about marketing and talk about, business in general. And for my audience, now this is the roofing space. You guys, all you HVAC guys and, all those, you could, it's a little different business, but let's introduce you to the roofing industry.
Yeah. So I first of all, I've always enjoyed our chats, Jim, especially when we're getting in person at some of those events that we go to. But so my name is Joshua Crouch, and I was an HVAC contractor for 9 years. I worked at 3 different HVAC companies and cut my teeth there. I am not a technician. I'm definitely better at business, sales, operations, marketing, technology. That's where I've always lived. I've been a grunt when my team needed it. I've hauled in and out furnaces and air conditioners and did all the grunt work. But I'm not the guy that's going to probably turn the wrench real well. And my wife knows that. So I am not allowed to hang any pictures or anything on the wall anywhere, because when I moved to Arizona about 3 years ago, when we were in Wisconsin, I would do it. And I had a stud finder. I know the right stuff, but I just couldn't quite get the holes right. So I made a few too many holes that had to get patched up. And so I stick to what I'm good at, and I hire for everything else.
That's a good way to do things. That sounds like you're focused on being a business owner then, not self-employed.
I will say that philosophy has served me very well. You don't think about it at the time. You're kind of like, oh man, I'm a man. I should be able to do this stuff. But honestly, that it served me very well, because I know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, and I hire for the things I'm not good at. And that's really something that's really helped propel our digital marketing company, our podcast. We even have a company that helps coaches, anyone it's not really home. It doesn't have to be home service specific. It's called Trade Automation Pros. We teach people how to use automation and AI together to really get the outcomes they want we all know that you probably got all your listeners probably shaking their head at this. They probably got 10, 15, 20, 30 softwares. They don't all communicate together. So data has to get entered here and here and here, especially when it comes to proposals and then invoicing and all these sorts of things, or leads coming in. And it just gets it's very difficult. It's very time consuming work. You have to hire more admin people or VAs, and it's a mess. And it just creates unnecessary complication and additional overhead.
Yeah, it's amazing to me that people still do so many manual actions when there are so many tools available.
I think they're scared of it, to be honest. I have asked this question probably a dozen times in the last 4 or 5 years. And the response is always, I always chuckle because I'm like, if you could automate anything, what would you automate? And most people are like, I don't know. What can I automate? They don't know. They don't know that this stuff exists. We take it for granted when we're in the space that you and I have been in, that we literally see these tools everywhere all day, all the time. And we get accustomed to using them, and people just don't understand that this stuff is out there, and we can take data from multiple places, put it into one thing and make it do something else. And it just happens on repeat. We don't even know it's happening. It just keeps happening. And so we go around, we do a lot of presentations at home service shows. You will see us at roofing shows later this year and next year. So we will see you guys. We'll crash the party. But we'll try to bring some of that stuff to the roofing space as well.
That's awesome. And it's really, it's a lot of the stuff that we did at Roofer Marketers, now Job Nimbus Marketing, we really focused on that upfront lead generation. And, I've had, I work in the Roofing and Solar Reform Alliance with Adam Bensman, and he's, launching a program about how to be your own, the GC of your own marketing. And one of the things that we see on the marketing side is that everyone just thinks about the lead, but not what happens after the lead comes in. And that it's been so challenging but that's where the automation comes in. That's where the AI comes in. That's where all of these things fill the gaps, because I'm sure at every HVAC business that you worked in, everyone made their phone calls when they were supposed to.
Yeah, no. So my first experience was, the first year I was in the trades was 2013. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't grow up in the trades. I don't have some of the typical stories that you hear where it's like, I grew up in the trades, I'm second, third generation, or my father's uncle was in the trades and brought me in. Like, I literally went to a job ad. I've always loved numbers, data, and statistics. So I thought accounting was going to be my career. I found out pretty quickly I hated accounting because it was boring. And no offense to any accountants, I love you. You're great. I need you. We all do. But it just wasn't for me. And so I found a job ad as an accountant for this local HVAC company I never heard of. I got the job. I wasn't a very good accountant. I very quickly kind of took over office management because I did grow up in a small family martial arts environment. So we had 3 schools. I ran 2 of those schools myself when I was young. So I did have some business experience, and then our marketing was like whatever I could create on whatever program was up then, late 2000s, early 2010s. So I had some chops there, but to do it for an HVAC company when someone needed demand, I had no idea what I was doing. The winter of 2013 comes in, and I don't know if you remember this winter, because I'm sure you had the same weather I did being in Wisconsin. It was the coldest winter in 30 years. The day I walked in, March of 2013, we had 20 techs. By September, we had 3 because we couldn't pay people on time. And I didn't really know this at the time. I was writing their net payroll checks. I didn't realize we weren't paying withholding tax. I didn't know any of this stuff. We weren't paying withholding taxes. We owed our only line of credit to get new equipment, which in the HVAC space, you get equipment every day. Like, you need a line of credit, was the time it took for me to write a check, drop it at the bank, and the bank to cash it. So we had like a 2-day line of credit. Nobody would give us a line of credit because the business owner that I worked for had terrible credit, in a bankruptcy on his just all the bad things. Like, it was the best learning experience I've ever had in my life. And it was also probably the most stressful 3 years of my life. That's probably when I started losing my hair, because I saw the potential. We had a really big customer list, but then we had this winter. So we went from being able to serve with 20 techs to 3. And then the coldest winter in 30 years hits. We have a customer list of about 30,000 people. And we got our ass handed to us. I was literally out. I was more of a parts runner that year. I just literally was running furnaces, picking furnaces up, dropping them off, going to the supply house. Like, you stay at the job. I'm going to running between Milwaukee and Madison. It was a shit show. It was. We ended up getting it all. We started learning, and I started getting a little bit better, and we started figuring things out. We started paying our taxes. We paid the tax debt down, all those things. But it was like a massive learning experience. But to talk about making phone calls, and this is where the story started from, was 2014. it was a very mild winter. I've never experienced this before. And between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we all know a lot of people don't like spending money, especially on things like roofing, HVAC, maybe plumbing because of Thanksgiving. But they don't want to spend money. So I had to start outbound calling and setting up tune-ups. And I had no idea what I was doing. And I hated it, literally hated it. And at that time, texting people was not an option. Reaching out with all the different things we have today was not really an option. Our CRM that we used was a DOS-based system that nobody knew how to operate. So it was all keyboard. And I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I couldn't pull reports. I couldn't we didn't have email address. We had nothing. Like, it was just so poorly ran for so many years. I learned a lot of very valuable things very quickly, but outbound calling can definitely work. It still works today. It's not fun. It's really not fun at all. I hated it.
Yeah. And it's amazing how many of the calls don't get answered or don't get responded to. Now, 10 years later, think about it. Like, we're only 10 years later. It's a completely different world.
It was unrecognizable from when I started.
Unrecognizable, right? And it's only been 10 years and it's moving fast. What are the most effective automations that you see companies putting into place that like that 80-20 rule? Where do they get, like, put these in place? That's an 80%. The others fill the gaps and really make up the difference.
Yeah, it's an awesome question. And a lot of times people want to get really specific and really complicated when they start learning what automation can do. But honestly, if you focus on just a few core things, one for me is anywhere you get a lead, have a speed to lead system. Immediate text message or email, whatever is more comfortable for you, because every market is a little different that way. Some people are like really active with text. Some markets, everyone hates text. Like everyone's like, stop, unsubscribe, I hate you. So, but speed to lead, so web form submissions, chat on the websites, anything with a Facebook lead form. If you have a web form for that you're sending Google ads to, Angie, Home Advisor, Thumbtack, even Yelp has an API now. So you can, anytime you get leads in those sources, you can funnel those into a conversational, whether it's an AI bot or someone answering it, at least sending the first text message out and starting the conversation. And then what's nice is because you can funnel all of those things into one place, you can put them in a pipeline. So that way somebody can manage the pipeline internally if you don't want to use some sort of AI system to constantly follow up. And that would be like, you got to get that in place. Missed call text backs is huge. Everyone thinks they don't miss any calls until we as an agency, and you guys might have done this too. We have an entire call tagging team. Pretty soon we'll have an AI analysis tool that you can immediately, instantly know what happened with those opportunities. And what will happen is CallRail and other tools will say the call was answered because they thank you that this call may be recorded. Thanks for calling ABC Roofing. This call may be recorded. The technology says that was answered. Well, then it rings 4 times and then somebody hangs up, and it happens all the time. I think I've seen our missed call rate like 15 to 17% of all calls, and that's over tens of thousands of calls per month. So do the math. You can figure that out. Like, it's a lot of missed opportunity. And so just those things in general, just tighten up the ship, plug the holes, if you will, in your leaking bucket, and you're instantly going to be more profitable and book more jobs.
Yeah, that's the first thing to do, right? It's making sure that you're not leaving money on the table. We did some analysis at Roofer Marketers, and it was at a time there when we analyzed this, there was 40% of leads that came into that we helped generate for companies were unanswered or not responded to. So
or they're not responded too quickly. Like, I've seen some studies done.
It's crazy.
Where literally, I think the company's Valve and Meter. They're out of Indianapolis. They do a little home service. They do some other stuff too. They have multiple industries they serve. But they did a study of like 500 contractors or something like this, and it's from like 2022 or 23 during COVID, and they found that like 40 or 45% of contractors didn't reply within 5 days. Like, just being fast, you don't even have to be good. Just being fast is a leg up from your competition.
Yeah. We have our lake house in northern Minnesota. You know about the lake homes in Wisconsin there. And I called a gutter company to get to have a conversation about getting some new gutters on the place. And they gave me a call back in 28 days.
It was convenient for them at that point.
By that time, I had someone drive up from Minneapolis, complete the job, and go home and been paid before they even called me back. So.
And the thing is, that business probably doesn't even they probably don't even realize it because it's just the way they've been doing business.
That's right.
But they're spending money on marketing, or a company or someone internally. They're just blowing it.
Or someone said you should. This is how they came about. Was I asked around, hey, who could I use for this? Oh, use so and so. So now they have people championing their business, and they don't even call back, right? Like that championing ended at me. Like it's over. Before we carry on with the episode, let's give a shout out to one of our sponsors. I talk to contractors every day that feel stuck. Not because they're not working hard, but because they're missing the structure to growth without chaos. Or their culture's falling apart because their team's unclear, unaligned, or just burned out. And when change hits, they're reacting instead of leading because time and priorities aren't under their control. Day 41 Thrive helps to fix that with proven strategies for growth, culture, and leadership that actually work. Ready to thrive beyond the storm? Visit the link in the description or visit the Roofing Success Podcast website on the sponsors page to start your journey today. They don't even call back, right? Like that championing ended at me. Like it's over.
Yeah.
That's all they had.
I was making a YouTube video the other day for our channel. And one of the things I talked about was we're not like your quality of work. You may be the best. The company that answered in 28 days may be the best gutter company the world has ever seen, but it doesn't matter. There's so many other competitors. Somebody else will do close to good enough work and they'll get paid. And you don't need to be the best. Like sometimes the focus on these little, like being the best just gets us in our head. Like you need to also serve the customer. The customer is really what matters. And being fast is going to get you way more business. And that's just one, I should say one automation, because it is multiple things you got to connect to one place, but it's one set of automations that is going to make your ROI and your marketing spend and your net profit go up. Because you're already spending that money. You might as well get the opportunities that are coming with that, or at least know where you're weak. Like there's tools out there now where we're creating one called Phone Tap. It's an AI call analysis. It's an instant AI call analysis tool, which can automate workflows based off of outcomes. So think of like qualified lead not booked because of pricing objection. And now that might be more home service because we have like service fees. I know roofers probably go out for like free estimates a lot. But whatever the case is for that type of business, then you can automatically alert a manager, an owner, somebody in your business to go do something within 5 minutes of that call being hung up before they get the work done, before they get to somebody else. And it's stuff like that really is what contractors need. It's the stuff that's going to make decision making very simple for them and very effective.
That's a good thing, a good thought process for people as we're moving into, especially into the AI age, right? Like what can you do that helps you get to those decisions faster, that gets you to those things that matter, those things that'll move the needle quickly. What other parts of companies are you seeing automations done well? Like where we're on the front end of the funnel here. This is, awareness, consideration into the buying decision a little bit. Where else are you seeing a lot of automation and AI being implemented?
The most obvious one, and this doesn't matter what business type you're in or what you do for a service, but it's estimate follow-ups. We all know when new jobs come in, new estimates come in, the salespeople are going to run to the new one and they might eventually get back to the other ones. But we all know the stat, like the magic is between touch point 7 and 12. Most people follow up maybe once or twice. And so having a system where you have nurture, and this gets into a broader discussion about content marketing, because I think a lot of people, contractors as a whole, have gotten better at creating content, but they don't create enough of it. And that content you create serves multiple purposes. I think this is a concept that doesn't really get talked about a lot. It's like, you got to create content. Okay, cool. Why and what and how and like, what's the purpose? Because some content like this is, for example, this for me is a very, very top of the funnel. I just want you to know that we exist, right? It's top of funnel. Just know that Relentless Digital exists, and you can always reach out for questions if you have them. As you get down to the middle of the funnel, as somebody booked an estimate with you, they want to know, maybe the materials you use. What's the warranty? Why should they choose you over somebody else? What are your core values? Maybe some video testimonials of happy customers you've served in the past that live in their market. Things like that can be really valuable middle of funnel towards bottom of funnel content to get them to actually move forward with something. And I think contractors, I see some people do really well, really funny stuff online, but it's the content driving people from top of funnel. Hey, I'm aware of your company, down to my solution and how it can help you. And building that out is something that really takes practice and skill. So the more you practice, the more you get accustomed to it, the more you pay attention to content marketing, you'll start to see that like it will all come together. But the content marketing isn't just for the social media platform. It's for email. It's for sending prospects that are in your pipeline. It's for sending people that maybe don't know if they want to get an estimate on the roof. Maybe they're in the, there's a little leak. I don't know if I need someone, or I know my roof's old, but I don't know if it needs to be replaced yet. But they're trying to do research phase. Content can help because everyone absorbs content differently. Email, video, text posts, local Facebook groups. And it served me extremely well at the last 2 HVAC companies that I was at. And then my marketing company now. And of course, with the podcast, we put out episodes every week. Content marketing is the current and probably future currency, especially as AI becomes this like massive behemoth of a thing and we don't know who to trust anymore. Being authentic on camera and showing the authentic brand and the people and who you are and what you do for the community is going to become, I think, even more powerful, because a lot of people are using it just to regurgitate a bunch of stuff right now. It's just like, how much crap can I put out and hopefully it sticks and I grow and I get followers.
Yeah. I just did a podcast recently with the guys from East Coast Roofing Systems out in Philadelphia and in the Philadelphia area. And if I remember right, they talked about their content is so educational. Just they want their customers to be so well educated before they reach out to them. And that's just a goal. I think it's a mindset thing with content. Content is hard. I guess business is hard in terms of needing leads, right? Like there's a need for new business. And so much effort goes into that now and new business that a lot of the other things, it's like, well, I'll do that one day. I'll do that someday.
Happens. One day never happens.
One day never happens. And so
just do it. Literally turn your camera on. It doesn't matter if the sound sucks, if the quality of the video sucks, just start. And there's, I know you know this because there's a lot of tools out there that can help. I think a lot of people, like, they don't know what to create a content on. One of the easiest ways I tell people is go to a tool like answerthepublic.com or also asked.com. You get free searches.
They're free. Yeah. Free searches. Yep.
And they just pull people also ask questions from Google. So type in roofing replacement, roofing repair. They'll give you 200 or 300 ideas on content to create. And this is literally search engines saying, hey, people also who search this term also search these questions. So it's like a hidden key to the kingdom. Just start shooting. The content doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be movie production. Honestly, I've seen content that doesn't get edited perform way better than stuff that's got fancy edits and a fancy camera and everything else, especially when it comes to local businesses, because people know you're not going to have a huge budget for like movie level production, grow into that at some point. And then you can all be Tommy Mello and be this big, audacious guy that's got cameras following him everywhere. But for the rest of us mere mortals, just start with your phone, because the quality of everything on there is great.
It is, and that's a great one. So Google's essentially telling you it's Google's data on what people are searching for. So you
just gotta know where to look, right? I mean, that's the key to everything. Just if you can cut through the noise and just like, hey, I got 2 tools today. Let's go create a free account. Type in something that's relevant that you want to create. Maybe you want to create some content on, and just see what ideas pop up. Most of them have an export feature, so you can export them into like a Google Sheet or an Excel document. And now you have a massive list. And then when you get new free searches the next day or next week or whenever they renew, just do another one. Put this list together. And then honestly, what I like to do is I time block. And I usually record 1 hour a week. Now at this point, because we've been doing it so long, I have actually hired someone to literally help me with like content ideas and all that kind of stuff. But when I started out, I literally just like found a question. I just answered the question and just start basic. Act like if you have to, have someone literally ask you the question while you're on camera. They'll be behind the camera, and just answer the question to the best of your knowledge and post that. It can be as simple as that. It doesn't have to be some fancy thing. And then once you get used to it, you get better, and then you start diving into it and you want to improve, and you want to improve the editing and add some B-roll and all of those things. But everybody gets started with just a camera and their first videos suck. So don't worry, they will suck, but it's okay.
Who should shoot? Who should be on camera for a company?
It's a great question. My personal opinion is
the opinion. Yeah.
Is the owner, especially if you're privately held, is the owner. It's one reason we've never done social media for clients is because it is extraordinarily hard to speak their brand into existence regularly. We can create graphics and we can put stuff together to, put some information out there that's valuable and educational, but speaking the brand and like that brand voice, everybody's got a little different way of going about it. The best content we always created was when I did it in-house, or I had a team and I trained them what I wanted them to say. And they just kind of got used to the way I talk and the way I push things through it. It's the best way to put content out. And I know that sucks to hear if you're an owner. Maybe, and if you're lucky and you have a big enough organization, maybe you have a GM, a service manager, someone in a high level position that wants to create content. Maybe you have techs that want to create content. I've seen companies use their techs. They're really, they're higher level technicians, and they help them create content. But typically it starts with the owner.
Yeah. In most cases, it's got to be the owner. In my opinion too. It starts there. But I've seen some companies that do a good job of getting the team involved. And I think it's a special thing when they do, but it's a lead by example a little bit, right?
Well, you can have a lot of fun with it. Like they're not in the roofing space, but for anyone listening, I would go find climate experts in Florida. His name is Derek Cormier. Their content is hilarious. They have some of the funniest skits. They usually take some sort of trending thing and they take it for the trades. They're HVAC and plumbing company. Content is hilarious. Like, I don't typically watch a lot of home service content because I'm not really the audience for that, but it's hilarious. Like, I actually watch their videos because it is hilarious. So I always take time to watch their stuff. So if you want some inspiration and you feel like you got a creative team, Derek would be the person to reach out to because he's doing a great job.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's the thing. You have to be yourselves in it, right? So I would assume if I met the owners of that company, that's their personality, right? That's the culture that they've built in that company. They're probably, it's probably.
Oh yeah, there's team members in almost every single one of his videos. And honestly, I've gotten to the point where like I recognize the team members almost more than I recognize him because I've seen him in every video that I watch.
Yeah. I think there's a little, we kind of talk about automation and AI a little bit and content, but like, man, this thing is changing fast. We now have a lot of zero-click searches on Google. For people that don't understand what that is, it's the answer being presented without having to go to a website or another property. More people are going to asking questions on ChatGPT and Claude and Perplexity and all the other AI solutions. What do you see changing in digital marketing right now? I know you're enjoying the episode, but let's give a shout out to another one of our sponsors. As a roofing marketing agency owner and coach, I've seen it all. Great marketing wasted because no one follows up fast enough. That's why I built Power Up Agents, not just a receptionist. Our AI handles the entire customer journey, from answering the first call to booking the job to post-job surveys and reviews. 24/7, inbound, outbound, even multilingual. If you want leads followed up instantly and customers nurtured automatically, visit the link in the description or visit the sponsors page on the Roofing Success Podcast website. Your full AI team is ready. We now have a lot of zero-click searches on Google. For people that don't understand what that is, it's the answer being presented without having to go to a website or another property. More people are going to asking questions on ChatGPT and Claude and Perplexity and all the other AI solutions. What do you see changing in digital marketing right now?
Well, I have some good news. The local side, like the people that are searching for a service company near me, like the service you offer near me or in my area, that I think Google would have a massive war on its hand if they got rid of the Google business profile. And the Google business profile is still where a lot of people go to local search, because ChatGPT, if you ever ask it for like reviews and stuff, I've seen it pull TripAdvisor reviews for the trades. Or either that or it's pulling from Bing Places. Bing Places is connected to Facebook, and most contractors don't get a lot of reviews on Facebook. So it's not very reliable. So the good news is the local side. So very bottom of the funnel, customer knows they need to hire someone and they're going to try to pick a provider. I think that's safe for now. I say for now because we don't know. But you're absolutely, and honestly, I think a lot of people think ChatGPT is stealing all their traffic. It's actually AI overviews on Google stealing their traffic. I did an audit for a plumbing company because I was just like, why do the traffic on the website goes on? I was looking at their rankings. I'm like, nothing's really changed here. And they rank for a lot of blogs, like either 1, 2, or 3. And so I went into a incognito browser where I could use the AI overview, because when you have a workspace account, for whatever reason, it doesn't work as well. And I started typing in the same exact query I was finding in Google Search Console. And sure enough, they're still there as one of the sources, but the answer is right there for them. And then by the time you got to their actual blog post, and I have a 32-inch monitor, I had to scroll to get to the first blog post because the answer was right there. So they're not only they were sourced in the AI overview, they were still the number one blog position, but they lost probably 60 to 70% of the traffic to their website. And it was all informational blog style type content. So I don't know if anyone has the answer for that yet, because that's going to be the norm moving forward. So ChatGPT is probably stealing some traffic the same way, but AI, Google itself is stealing a majority of your traffic right now, whether you know it or not.
Yeah. And it's special. So those queries, just for people listening, a lot of times those informational queries didn't have ads on them.
Not
ever.
Yet.
They didn't, right? So the local search results have ads. There's Google ads, there's local services ads, right? There's the spot there's the Google ad in the map section, there in the GBPs, right? There's revenue being generated on that local on the bottom of funnel, roofing company near me. Asphalt shingle versus metal roofing, there was no ads there.
Yeah.
So if you think about it from Google's P&L, they can't get rid of, just as you were saying that, I'm like, they can't get rid of that. They can't disrupt their revenue stream in that way. They can't take that out. That's the P&L. That's what they're funding everything else with is our Google Ads money, right? So it is, that's a realization that you're probably a little bit safer there.
Well, at some point, I know ChatGPT is technically or OpenAI is technically a nonprofit, but they're going to have to run ads. They got tens of billions of dollars in funding those investors want that money back.
Someone's going to get their money back.
So
Yes.
they're going to, at some point, they're going to have ads. Perplexity has already started playing around with ads, which they're quite a bit smaller. But either way, what's going to end up happening is you're going to have to manage all these platforms. And it's going to be, and who knows what other ones are going to be created. You know, DeepSeek had its moment. I haven't really seen a lot with that, but Manus is getting like, it's getting wild. There's still a lot of new programs coming out, and they're becoming a lot cheaper and cheaper and cheaper to create because the technology is better. But being omnipresent has never, it's always been important, but it's been growing in importance. And that's why we talked about content marketing. It's going to be more important than ever. I told Jim this before we jumped on, we're probably going to miss the day in 2 or 3 years. We're going to miss the days when Google was the main behemoth, because now we have to put our ad spend in all of these different places and our attention in all of these different places. And it's going to become very difficult to really measure results because there's just going to be it's going to be a lot of data. Like, we're all going to have to get much better as marketers to really understand what's happening. I've already seen somebody come up with reporting to see, try to explain this in a way that makes sense to people. But so when ChatGPT, Gemini, or Perplexity has traffic in it refers to your website. So somebody clicks one of those source links and goes to your website. I've seen people create reports on that already. I did one for Relentless, and I've seen that we had like 6 LLM sessions in the last 28 days. I'm like, oh, like, and what I've noticed is actually the time spent on the website coming from those, I did a few other tests, is actually a lot higher than normal Google traffic, because they get an answer and now they're going deeper down the funnel, right? Because they got an answer, like, okay, now I want to know who to hire. So it seems like they're spending more time on the website from that, but it's early. So don't quote me on that. In 6 months, that could be not the case.
Yeah. And we're kind of, I mean, I'm old enough and have been around this. I've been building websites since the early 2000s. When there was Ask Jeeves, there was, there was Yahoo, there was multiple places, right? And so thinking about it in that frame of reference, it's just that, again, there's a race right now. There's going to be a lot of people, a lot of places that come in, a lot of properties that become relevant and then irrelevant over time. We'll have to see what happens, but
and the thing that I think there's a lack of clarity when it comes to, like, people say ChatGPT is cutting into Google's search dominance. But the funny thing is, Google is still growing as far as number of queries. So that what that means is people are using multiple search platforms for different things. It's not like for like when people say this. What I do on ChatGPT, I don't usually search the web that much. I just have it as an assistant. Well, that counts as a query and an ask when they do those reports. But I'm not eating into Google. I still go to Google for a lot of things. So I'm not cutting into what Google is doing. And most people that don't know this world, like you and I know this world really well, and your listeners probably know quite a bit about this world. Regular homeowners are still just going to Google. That's just how we grew up. A whole generation of people is just going to Google, because now we can get our AI answers in Google. So do I need ChatGPT except for like an assistant to do other tasks? And that's what I think a lot of people are using it for. So when people say, oh, it's ChatGPT is growing, I'm like, yeah, it is, but they're doing different things over here. I'm having it help me with video outlines and video scripts and webinar slides and things that I would never ask Google for. So that's just my 2 cents on it.
I think we're also entering a period of time. There's a couple of things converging. And one of them is AI, but it's converging with the post-COVID slowdown.
That's something
my theory, right?
Yeah, I was on To The Point. It's a home service podcast with Cristiano. He's got a marketing company right here in Arizona. I'm in Arizona now. I said Wisconsin. I've been in Arizona for 3 years. We talked about this because I did a Google Trends study. And for anyone listening to this, if you haven't heard Google Trends, just go to trends.google.com, type in your main roofing, and then just go down to your state. You can kind of drill down by state, and you can go last 12 months, last 30 days, last 5 years. I think it goes out to like 5 years. But you can see the trends. And what I noticed when I was looking at like August of 23, that exact thing where I was looking at like AC repair dropped off a cliff. Like the search volume and the trend dropped hard after a certain point. And a lot of people were starting to claim like, I don't have the leads. I'm not having my record months like I was month over month when it was during COVID. Everyone's like, another record month, another record month. Everyone was having a great time and getting real fast, right? So it's this post-COVID slowdown is different. People aren't they're at home as much. A lot of these big tech companies are forcing people to come back to work. So now they're back to, I'm only home a few hours a day. That can wait. They don't like, it doesn't matter to them as much because they don't use the home as much. So there's a lot of that at play too.
And I think that's one of the things. It's kind of there's a little bit of blame getting pushed on the AI right now, is what I'm saying. Like, it's not just, people don't realize, oh my goodness, well, shoot, things are slower. I know you're enjoying the episode, but let's give a shout out to another one of our sponsors.
Stop going at it alone, because growing a roofing company today is not what it was like even 3 years ago. Not with the economy, not with private equity, not with AI taking over the world, and let's not forget insurance rewriting the rules. Join the community of roofers who don't really like roofers. We share our winning secrets to help each other dominate in today's fast-changing and unpredictable times. Click the link in the description to apply to join.
People don't realize, oh my goodness, well, shoot, things are slower. And I've seen it, in many of the trades. I have a friend that's an electrical contractor. He's like, man, people just aren't calling as often right now. And so
there's a lot of uncertainty in the economy, right? Like, regardless of where you lean politically, there's tariffs, and some of that stuff can be good or bad. Depends how you look at it. But whenever it's just like your homeowners, when you give an estimate, if they're confused, they're not going to buy. So if they're not sure if they're going to have money for this, or they're not sure what's going to happen to the housing industry or the mortgage rates or all these different things, it just creates a lot of like, well, we'll wait and see what happens until we know things are booming. Like I just saw yesterday, this is the worst it's ever been as far as sellers to buyers for homeowners, which is usually the real estate market's a really good indicator of kind of where things are. And typically, and I'm assuming roofing kind of follows a trajectory like HVAC. HVAC equipment typically gets replaced like every 15 to 17 years. 15 to 17 years ago was 2008. We all know what happened in 2008, 2009. Slowed down with construction. So there's not as many new homes. And roofs, I'm assuming, are 20, 25, 30 years, probably depending on where you live and some of those factors. But we're also coming up on that for the roofing industry too, where there's going to be a slowdown because there's not as many new homes built. And depending on where you are, like I'm in Arizona, it's boom town. You wouldn't know the economy's not great here. Like there's new construction projects everywhere, but a lot of other places don't have the same new construction build out right now.
Yeah, it's challenging. So you mentioned omnipresence. I love omnipresence, man. That's my being best known beats best every time. And so what are you seeing tactically that is helping people become omnipresent in their marketplaces?
Well, I think the biggest thing comes back to video content. And I didn't share this. I shared it on my social media feed maybe a month ago, and I realized it because I was just looking up our brand. I don't even remember why, but when you look up your brand, if you have short form videos and you have your social media accounts connected to your Google business profile, there's usually there's like a few little tabs. I'm looking at on my screen over here. There's a few little tabs underneath that says all, images, maps, shopping. There's a new one called short videos, and it will pull in Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok videos into your feed. So what that's telling me, and Google's always one of those things, they'll never directly tell you what's helping. So you kind of have to see like, well, what do they have access to, and what are they showing on here? Because you kind of got to put together the pieces, and that's why there's a lot of marketing companies putting together the pieces, because it's a mystery. But short videos pop up, and like all of my short videos that get posted are on there. So Google is clearly pulling those in, and to make matters worse, Google's under 2 antitrust lawsuits right now one for their ads platform, and the other one is for, I think it has to do with search and not allowing competitive products into search because everything's Google, Google, Google. So Google's under a lot of hot water and a lot of pressure right now too, where they may have to sell off some of their features. So it's in their best interest. Like, for example, if you're in Europe, the European Union is very tough against tech companies. We are not here in the States. So in Europe, the search results are a lot different. They pull in things like TikTok videos and Facebook. So it's a lot different if you look there versus here. Here, it's still a lot of Google stuff, but it is starting to shift a little bit where they're starting to pull different things in from social media platforms. If you look up your brand, this is a great way to know which sites are the most important or ones that Google's pulling information from. Usually LinkedIn shows up, usually Facebook shows up like one of the top 2 or 3. So just Google your brand and then just see what's on page 1. That's a good indicator of what's important for Google. And so if you don't have listings on those platforms, get them. At least get a listing. Start posting on there. Hire a VA. Start putting content out there, because we'd never know what they're pulling sources from. So if we're sharing our 5-star Google reviews on 4 different platforms, now all of those platforms know we do great work, and they all see that 5-star content, and it just creates this ecosystem where if we're searching for best roofer in my area that gives free estimates, that's like a ChatGPT type search, right? That's a voice search. We can start, if we have everything pointing to we do 5-star work and we're great, chances are better you're going to be listed. So just things like that, and this again can all be automated. Like I automated review responses in social media posts back in like 2018, 2019, before we had AI. Now AI has made it 1,000 times better. My posts were always like the same, but now we can do all this and we don't have to set up once and it just runs, and we don't have to spend our time. So then we can spend our time on creating 2 or 3 really, really good pieces of content per week versus like, oh, I got to post today. What am I going to post about? What am I going to post about? And that's the kind of stuff that we really like helping contractors with. Just be smarter. Just, you don't have to do the hustle grind mentality all the time or work 18 hours a day and always be online and always be answering people. You can have technology help you with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, it's AI is here. So like you better accept it because it's.
I actually have a really funny story about one of our, because we have AI chatbots for our clients, and so we had this lady in Texas. It was right in Dallas. She came so she had a conversation with Rachel. That's the name we gave our AI bot, just because Rachel sounds like a really wholesome, good person that is really personable and fun and smiley. So she had a conversation. She booked an appointment. She came into the office with fresh baked cookies and asked the receptionist if she could give these to Rachel. The office person didn't know what she was talking about at first. Once it like dawned on her mid conversation, and she's like, "Oh yeah, sometimes people call me Rachel," because she didn't want to tell her it was an AI bot that booked the appointment and had the conversation with her. She's like, "Yeah, Rachel was so warm and giving, and she was so helpful. I just want to bake these cookies and give them to her." And I'm like, this is wild. Like, you never think this stuff would happen in your lifetime, but people don't know the difference. And especially as it gets better and better, they just don't know. I'm still of the belief you should tell them it's an AI assistant, but I know phone calls, I think it's by law you have to, but chats are a little gray area, if you will. But that stuff is happening. And we've had other stories where people like left 5-star reviews and named the AI chatbot in the reviews and said, "Hey, Rachel was great and helped me out," and all this type of stuff. So people they don't know the difference. And this stuff is working, and it is booking appointments, and it is helping contractors grow without having to have a massive overhead.
Yeah. And it kind of comes back to earlier what we were talking about, is that speed to lead. That AI chatbot was communicating quickly and efficiently, and that's all people want, is someone to communicate with them. Like, they just want to be communicated with. They don't want the phone call 5 days from now.
Well, not only that, like, millennials are the largest home buying group in the country. Now, I'm an old millennial. I just turned 40, so I'm at the very, I think there's like maybe 2 years more than me as the millennial age. But now we have Gen Z becoming young 20s, mid 20s. and they're starting to buy homes. So boomers still own the majority of, like, they're the largest homeowner group. I know it gets a little confusing,
yes.
but it's because they have multiple properties. The ones that are buying the properties now are millennials, and we do business differently, right? We want chat, we want online booking, we want online pricing, we want all of the things that we don't want to have to sit on the phone for 10 minutes and have you qualify us. We just don't want to do that. My wife shares this story a lot, and I share it on her behalf, is anytime we hire a contractor for our house, if they don't have some way to chat or book online, she just moves on to someone else, because that's just the world we live in today. And so if you don't have those things, you might be missing opportunities. And again, you don't, just like we gave the example about the gutter company that was 28 days later, you don't even know you're missing the opportunity because you don't even have the option.
Yeah. So what, kind of to close it out, what are the main things that a contractor needs to do going forward to make sure that they survive and thrive going into this era?
My biggest thing would be to own your list, so that way you can always remarket that list. I've actively, for both our podcasts, for our marketing company, even when I was in the trades, I always made sure we collected email addresses. That was before text messaging became a lot more popular. Own that list, grow that list as often as possible. Make sure it's a good list, though. Don't go buy a list of homeowners and stuff. That stuff doesn't work. And then you send an email and you're going to ruin your domain's reputation. But every single person that calls you, fills out a form, make sure that is a required field to send a mobile phone number and get an email address. Because with all of these different platforms, and we don't know exactly what's making people push them to buy today, the best way to ever get a hold of someone is direct outreach. And we do that a lot with clients. Now, in the homes, HVAC specifically, it's a little easier to get tune-ups and get back in the door, right? Because obviously most people are well-trained. Like, I need to have someone come tune up my AC. But roofing may be a little harder that way. But at least with the email, you can nurture them and teach them about their roof, teach them about their home, get them to feel really good about, like, wow, these guys are always teaching me something that's valuable. You will stand out when it comes time to get that roof replaced. That would
Awesome,
be my
man.
big thing. And of course, we talked about automation. Fill the gaps in your bucket. Start realizing, regardless of how awesome you think your team is, you have holes in your bucket. You're just not looking hard enough. Every business does. My business does. We're always constantly trying to find a better way to reach out to prospects, reach out to people that requested information faster, and to just fill the bucket, because if you plug the holes, you don't have to fill it with water, and that water being money, your profit.
That's right.
So you don't have to keep filling the bucket if you fill the holes.
Man, it was great having you on. This has been
Thanks,
another
Jim. I'm
episode.
glad we were able to do this.
Yeah, man. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. Thank you for tuning into the Roofing Success Podcast. For more valuable content, visit roofingsuccesspodcast.com. While there, check out our sponsors for exclusive offers, shop for merchandise, and sign up for our newsletter for industry updates and tips. Also, join the Roofing Success Facebook group to connect with other professionals and stay updated on the latest trends. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. Your support helps us continue to bring you top industry insights. The website link is in the description. Thanks for listening.